You're a good boy. You're a good boy. You're a good boy. That's so cute. How you doing, you?
Good, how are you, Charles?
Very nice. When you have mainstream media sends you a...
You're just about mainstream now.
huh?
Aren't you just about mainstream
Yeah.
now after all these years?
I don't know. I know one thing. I think I'm no longer banned from the legislature.
Why do you say that?
From what I seen, from when the QP was behind the legislator against the door.
Oh,
Did you
yeah.
see that video I made?
Yeah.
And about 15 cops. Everybody just ignored me. So that's enough for the ban. No, I don't want to go
That
inside.
means you're becoming mainstream.
And no, because mainstream was in the basement,
Oh, okay.
waiting for the scrums.
All right.
All of the action was going on, but
That's right.
what's a journalist these days? Everybody has a smartphone and a Facebook and a Twitter. They're journalists. But usually mainstream media, they would contact you and discuss to you the issue in advance what they want to talk about, right? Do they? Or did they just barge in here like what I'm doing?
They call and make an appointment.
And they talk about the issue you're going to talk about.
They tell me what the issue, what the
Yeah.
subject is. Yes.
And me,
Yes.
I didn't.
No.
You're wondering what the hell am I doing here, or what the hell do I want now? Okay, focus, Charles. Can I remove my mask or
No.
no? Okay. What's this thing about? Saw you. She did fantastic work. I like her. Natalie Surgeon for
Yeah.
Global News
Yeah.
last night. What's going on? So you have a chief medical officer that's now an assistant deputy minister?
Well, it looks like the status of the chief medical officer of health has now been put on the same level as assistant deputy ministers. That's what it looks like in the new organization, and that's very worrisome.
What does she want to be called? Mrs. Assistant Deputy Minister?
Well, no. So let's start from the beginning.
Yeah, please do.
The chief medical officer of health traditionally has been seen as equivalent in authority by the minister as a deputy minister. They were never called a deputy minister, but they were seen as equivalent in authority to the deputy minister of health, right?
Okay.
And so the chief medical officer of health advised the minister directly, and like a deputy minister does, right? So in this scenario in the past,
And the deputy minister is a political appointment.
not always, but sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, in the restructuring that's going on in public health, it seems like the deputy minister now, actually the actual deputy minister of health, has authority over the chief medical officer of health.
Really?
Well, that's what it looks like.
That's what it looks like.
So it opens up, real concern about what does that mean.
Independent. And now she's no longer independent now?
Well, she was never 100% independent, as we know.
Man, that's why Mr. Higgs always showed up there at the conference, make
So-
sure everything was in check.
So medical officers of health are not entirely independent. I mean, they do report to the minister, and they advise the premier and they advise the minister and so on. So there's a back and forth there. But yes, essentially they're supposed to be independent. And the way the new structure is set up, I think it increases the chances of the medical officer of health's advice to become more subject to political or bureaucratic considerations.
When did this happen?
It's been gradual over the last year, I would say.
Did she got 2 pays?
So, no. The first thing that happened was they created an actual assistant deputy minister of public health that never existed before.
And would that be in French and English?
No.
Just one,
One.
and that's her.
No, they created an assistant, they actually created an actual assistant deputy minister responsible for public health. That was never a position in the past.
So is that her
Right.
job?
But, no, but if you look at the way things are organized, the chief medical officer of health is now sort of on the same level as this new assistant deputy minister of health, under the deputy minister.
Is it me that only had one sub coffee, or is it confusing?
Well, it could be confusing, but what it looks like to me is the medical officer of health's position has become more embedded in the bureaucracy than before.
Or we don't want that.
So that's the upshot. It looks to me that the chief medical officer's health position has become more embedded in the bureaucracy than it ever was before.
What's that? What tune is that?
I don't know. It's my phone.
I don't know. What tune is that? Let's see.
You like it?
Yeah, what is it?
I have no idea.
You have no idea. Okay, it must be your executive assistant that put that in there. Or okay, so is this a story? It was on front headline news on Global last night. It's
of
other
course it's a
media.
story.
Have you been getting phone calls?
Of course it's a story. It's an important story because if you remember all of the sort of focus on the independence of the chief medical officer of health position back when Dr.
Like Clary was there.
Clary was fired
we know.
without cause.
We know. I think we know why, but we'll sorry.
Technically, that was what they said, right?
Yeah, because of the spraying.
So-
But technically,
So anyway, and at that time, the Conservatives, in fact, were very vocal, because they were in official opposition then, about making sure that the chief medical officer of health was completely independent from the bureaucracy or the
yes.
political process. And now what we're seeing is, it looks like that position of chief medical officer of health is being more embedded in the bureaucracy. That wasn't the case before.
Are you still on that committee, cabinet?
No.
How come?
No, I resigned when the Premier resorted to the Emergency Measures Act to create an emergency order to order the health workers back.
Oh, okay. Are you going back now?
I haven't thought about that yet.
Alston is there.
Yeah, I believe he's there. Well, if it still exists, I don't know.
Listen. Do people forget, or I was behind the ledge, like I told you earlier, and who comes out? All lined up. You know, like Princess Di and the royalty, the Liberals. And everybody was waving and clapping. They were like this, like some were like Donald Trump. And going like this and waving.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm not going to swear.
Good.
Do people forget the Liberals? They were hailed as heroes.
Yeah, well, they're great political performers.
Oh,
All about the performance.
the most vulnerable, Roger Malone said, the most vulnerable. And just, I mean, les Acadiens, il est temps qu'ils se réveillent.
Right.
Il est temps qu'ils se réveillent à cause la prochaine élection, si tantôt, puis ça va être Higgs est anti-francophone. Puis ça va continuer, puis c'est la politique, puis il joue avec le langage, avec la politique.
Ouais.
Puis,
Mais Roger Malson ne sera pas